Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities, they're Mother Nature's recipes, the simple bare necessities of life. Yeah, man! So hey guys, that was my little bare necessities thing for you. That was from the original Jungle Book from the '60s. But today in this movie review, I'm going to be reviewing the new live-action version of the Jungle Book by director Jon Favreau, who's known for directing Iron Man, Chef, Cowboys and Aliens, and he's acted in a couple of stuff like The Breakup, Couples Retreat, Rudy. Well, he seems to be a better director than an actor these days, but he's great at both. He's also a great writer and producer. He's also helped produce Marvel films, so he's been in a part of a lot of things. But he's now doing another film for Disney since he worked with them for Iron Man, since that's a Marvel property and a Disney property, to bring them the Jungle Book back onto the big screen. So for those who don't know the story of the Jungle Book, it's basically the same story again. So I guess I can briefly go over that for you again for those who don't know the story of the Jungle Book. It's about a young boy who was abandoned in the jungle. It's a little bit different in this version. You'll see what I mean when you see the movie. But a panther finds him. His name is Bagheera, and he kind of feels guilty about finding him and just leaving him there. And he gives him to a pack of wolves, and they help raise him. And so basically, he learns to be a wolf for a good chunk of his childhood. And it gets to the point where it's no longer safe to keep this boy Mowgli with these wolves. And so they hear about this man village that's in the jungle so he can go live with people again. And they want to get him to these people as soon as they can because there's a tiger named Shere Khan who's looking for him. And he's worried that if he grows up to become a man, he's going to later hunt him in the jungle and kill him. So he's trying to kill him as a boy before he becomes an adult. So these animals are on this, desperate attempt to get him back to this man village so he doesn't get killed by this tiger. And along the way, obviously he's already met Bagheera, but he also meets a character named Baloo the bear, who teaches him the bare necessities, like I was saying a second ago. And he is kind of more laid back. He kind of wants Mowgli to stay in the jungle. He helps Mowgli realize just how beautiful the jungle is and how it's kind of really all he knows. He doesn't really know what it's like to be around people. All he really knows is how to be around other animals, and he really doesn't know what it's really like to be a person. I mean, he is a person, but he knows more about being a wolf than being a person. So that's kind of why Mowgli himself is a bit scared to go to this man village, and also why Baloo's kind of worried about him going into the village because he knows how much he likes being in the jungle and being an animal in the jungle. So this movie's all about getting this young boy to this village before a tiger comes to kill him. So overall, guys, I thought this was a good attempt on the Jungle Book. I think I like the animated one from the '60s better. The one from 1967. Yep, 1967. I actually brought my copy of that for you for this review. Almost completely forgot I had this. This is the Disney Vault version of the Jungle Book, so I just wanted to bring that to this video because I still have this, and it's actually valuable now, I think. So I still own that. I think I have the VHS tape somewhere too, but I'm not going to dig that out right now. So yeah, I'm obviously a huge fan of the original Jungle Book. So I went into this film, and by the way, if you're wondering what this is, it's like a Kool-Aid Deadpool shirt. Found that at Comic Con not too long ago here in Madison. And I actually posted a video about that not too long ago for those who wanted to see that. But back to the Jungle Book. I'm a huge fan of it. I loved it as a kid. So I went into this with some pretty big expectations, and I liked it. I didn't love it, but let's go over some of those positives and negatives so I can share with you why I liked it, didn't love it, but didn't hate it. So, for those positives and negatives, I thought the CGI in this film was amazing. What's really neat about this film is almost all of it was done in CGI. And usually, I'm not usually in favor of CGI. I usually prefer practical effects. But this film is a great example of when you know how to use CGI as a tool and know how to use it well, your film can look great. It can really look good. It can really look convincing. Just like how this film really looks like it's taking place in the jungle, and Mowgli's really interacting with these animals. They did a really good job with all of that. So, huge thumbs up to Jon Favreau. The CGI in this film looks amazing. Another thing that really impressed me about this film was the voice acting. Bill Murray, who voices Baloo the bear in this movie, terrific job, terrific casting. He really is the real life Baloo the bear, so that's kind of why he was such a great casting choice in this movie. Idris Elba, who was probably the most surprising performance in this movie, just because his voice in this film was very powerful, was the voice of Shere Khan. Very villainous, very powerful, very scary character, and Idris Elba pulled this off very, very well. Another huge positive I liked about this movie that the animated one didn't do as much. They obviously covered this, but I think this new live action film did a better job than the animated film, is really emphasizing that the wolves play a very big part in how Mowgli has survived the jungle this whole time, how they really just kind of took him in, view him as, one of their children, really, raised him to be a wolf. They've taught him the wolf creed to how they're going to survive and team up on things. So I like how this film really emphasized that he really was raised to be a wolf. He really was raised to eat like one, to search like one, to go into the pack like one. So I like how this film really emphasized that more, and how when Mowgli's out and about by himself in this jungle, most of his survival skills are based off things that he learned from the wolves. I like how the film really emphasizes that that's how he knows those things. And I brought this up earlier with Idris Elba's voice acting performance, but I really want to emphasize it again. His performance as Shere Khan, he was the voice role in this. Very scary take on Shere Khan. Definitely a much more threatening version of Shere Khan. Like in the other one, he would show up every once in a while, be kind of scary for a second or so. This one, he's threatening. He's dangerous. You do not want to mess with this tiger. He will kill you if you do. And they really emphasize this. They really emphasize too that Mowgli really had no chance against this tiger. They really emphasize that a lot in this movie. So very scary character. They really emphasize just how scary he was, and I like how Jon Favreau really did that really well. The new child actor Neil Sethi, who played Mowgli in this film, terrific job from him. I hope to see him do more roles. I think this film, at least I'm hoping this film, will land him bigger roles in Hollywood. Love to see him in more things. Definitely reminded me of a kid that also worked with Jon Favreau on one of his earlier films, Chef. He also has a voice role in this film as one of the wolves, I think, too. MJ Anthony, I think his name is. He seems to be really good with working with child actors, and Neil Sethi definitely joins that cast again. Um, this is his first time taking on a big live action film like this. I think his first film role, too. Great performance from him. Um, so, Neil Sethi, great job, dude. Hope to see you in other big budget films coming out soon. This film is also very visually beautiful. CGI effects aside, this film is very visually beautiful to look at. The environments look great. When Mowgli's down in the dirt, or when he's up in the sky or up in the trees, down in the river swimming in it, this film really emphasizes just how beautiful and rich and textured this jungle is in this movie. So I really like how Jon Favreau really makes this film very visually beautiful to look at. For my negatives of the Jungle Book, because like I said, it's not a perfect film. I do prefer the animated one over this one, but let's go over some of those negatives, because I do have some negatives with the movie. I thought the interpretation of Colonel Harvey was very weak in this movie, to the point where I didn't even know which elephant was supposed to be Colonel Harvey. The elephants have no lines in this movie. They're probably the fewest animals in the movie that actually have no lines at all. And just the interpretations of elephants in this one was very lame. They literally show up for one scene to let Mowgli ride one of them, and then you just kind of disappear off into the movie. So very weak interpretation of Colonel Harvey. Definitely the one from the animated one was more fun than this. So I liked it, but not so much the elephants in the movie. I also thought this overall film wasn't as energetic as the one from the 60s. The one from the 60s, when the songs were playing, when they were, out doing stuff, you really felt involved. You really feel like you want to sing along with the songs, that you want to, go on this adventure with Mowgli, and, be able to. It just felt more involving. It just felt more engaging. It felt like it was talking to me more as the viewer more often. So I don't know. As for me personally, I thought the original animated one just felt a little bit more energetic to me, and I liked it better as a result. There's also some pretty poor audio lip syncing in the movie. There's one scene specifically with Shere Khan where they really messed up pretty bad, actually. It's when he's talking to the wolves, I think, near the beginning of the movie. Um, the mouth that's supposed to speak for Shere Khan while he's talking doesn't really match up with the dialogue that well in one part. There's also another scene too where Bill Murray as Baloo the bear he has like a lot of honey in his mouth, and they don't really make an attempt to make it sound like he has something in his mouth. He just speaks normally while having this huge chunk of honey in his mouth and stuff. So there's some audio choices that really weren't the best. So if you're listening, Film Academy, do not nominate this for best sound mixing. The sound mixing in this film is really not that good, but do nominate it for the visual effects. The visual effects are very good though. Um, Audio lip syncing in the film, wasn't a big fan of it. I also thought this overall film was pretty predictable. If you've seen the original animated films hundreds of times like I have, you're already going to know this entire movie. I was expecting that. I wasn't expecting anything to be completely different, but it would have been nice to have more surprises every once in a while. There was a few little mix and ups and matches that were different, but I would have preferred something that would have been a little bit more different, I guess, while also staying true to the source material, but being a little bit more different. I also I think I mentioned this earlier. I really wish the film was more involving. Yeah, I think I did cover this already. Just the musical numbers. I really wish that I felt more involved, that I felt more invested. I felt like they were singing me the songs, got it out of the way, but didn't want me to feel involved in them. So overall, guys, I'm going to give this new Jungle Book version an 8 out of 10. Jon Favreau did a very good job. The CGI looks great. The voice acting is great. I like the involvement of the wolves in this movie. Shere Khan is very scary. I hope Neil Sethi lands bigger roles in Hollywood because he's great in this movie. But I didn't like how Colonel Hardy was interpreted in the movie, and neither was the elephants. It didn't feel as energetic as the animated film. The lip syncing with the audio was very poor. It was a little predictable for its own good. And I really wish I could have been more involved with the musical numbers because I was very involved when I watched it in the animated one. I wanted to, sing along with those animals. This one, I just kind of wanted to sit back, get it done, and not really sing along with them. So, 8 out of 10 for me. It's a good film, but it's not quite as good as that animated film from the 60s.